Hey everybody, this is Eric Mueller, the host of The Eric Mueller Show. Now you're tuned into the podcast where we explore what makes any successful person's inner clock tick by unlocking the most impactful tools within their success portfolio. Today we're diving into the second episode of the Pulse of the Midwest miniseries, which highlights the incredible talent from this vibrant region that I'm proud to call home. Joining me is Vusa Bentley, an expert in fitness and nutrition with a multidisciplinary approach that focuses on mind, body, and soul. She's certified as a personal trainer and nutritionist by the National Academy of Sports Medicine, and Vusa combines mental and emotional resilience training programs with her FitNut company. She's allowing people to create transformative results for all the clients that come to her and build a life of fulfillment from that point. Her mission, United We Plank, is taking her all across the country to all 50 states as she sets out to plank for a purpose. Vusa's blending endurance with purpose-driven action. Along the way, Vusa's not only aiming to break the women's world record for longest plank, but also she's using her expertise as an endurance athlete to inspire strength, mindfulness, and resilience. She's speaking to organizations and communities nationwide, and with each event she's serving as an opportunity to motivate others and raise funds for causes close to her heart. She's transforming her passion into meaningful impact. Let's head on over to the interview. Vusa, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Vusa, thank you so much for being on here. I think the listenership should probably know it's actually kind of a funny story how we met. We were both on a flight back from Houston, Texas, and, just sitting next to, people on the airplane, and you start talking, you start finding, some common ground, both from totally different spots in the world, but are both currently living in Minnesota. And Vusa and I kind of just started sharing things that were going on in our lives, and she shared this unique story about planking, and full disclosure, I can only plank for maybe a couple minutes, and that's really tough.
That's good. That's very good.
Vusa can do that literally like 100 plus X. She is wild with that. And so when she started sharing that, I was like, man, maybe she'd be interested in coming on the show. This would be kind of a fun story to tell. So yeah, Vusa, I mean, this is fantastic. And before we really dive deep into this journey that you have,
I just have to tell you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I saw you in your purple outfit, all Vikings. I said, either he's an NFL player or avid fan. I'm like, dang, I guess I'm not that vested into my attire.
Yeah. The purple is always, any brand that I'm involved in or anything that I can create, I always throw a little splash of purple in there. It's homage to home. And I do love the Vikings, getting ready to go to the Vikings-Bears game on Monday Night Football, which by the time this airs, that'll be done. We'll already have won that. But yeah, so Vusa, I mean, yeah, starting off with diving into this journey of resilience, fitness, transformation, all these cool things that you're doing. Before we get to that, we really want to know what makes up your success portfolio. So if you're new to this show, really quick background, way to view it is think of an investment portfolio. What are the things that you're investing money in to hopefully build financial freedom, maybe retirement, saving for a house? What are those things that you put into that to get to that goal? Well, here on the Eric Mueller Show, I'm really setting out to discover how successful people like Vusa invest in themselves and build that foundation for their own success. So Vusa, start us off here. What are some skills, traits, habits, mindsets that make up your success portfolio?
Thank you. And that's a very great question because most people too often focus on, tell me about your career, tell me about your, and other, specific things. But success portfolio, at least I'm going to speak subjectively from my personal experiences and my understanding and of this whole matter. For me, the most successful portfolio, the most important successful investment you can ever make is in your mind. And when I say that, I don't really say it as a cliche. I'm 43, and next week, by this time, I'll be 44.
Well, happy early birthday.
Thank you. And I can tell you the journey of self-actualization for me started in 9th grade. And that did not stop and has not stopped and has been my life's purpose. And I hope everybody takes important look into their life and besides the survival skills like a basic Maslow's needs of shelter, food, and home, obviously those are the first most fundamental investments that you need to make. You got to make sure your kids have food, you got to make sure you're home, and depending where your values of food and shelter is. But for me, it's always been the journey of improving yourself and self-actualization. To this day, to this moment, to this second, I have a piano mentor that I have once a week, self-actualize my skills in piano. Am I a great pianist? Absolutely not. But do I have pieces that I play that takes me to the sense of peace and tranquility when I do not, I dysregulate perhaps? Yeah, absolutely, yes. Fitness, mind, and books. Shows like yours is an investment. My time to be here is my investment. So my time is my most important currency. So if I spend time with you being on the show, and I don't mean as a sense of arrogance or disrespect, that means I'm investing time in my mind to expand my conscious awareness by being in the environment with people that are trying to look up to a better environment, better thought processes, better hopeful living, and better mindset. So that your mind to stay cool, calm, collected, and to self-actualize and to improve skills upon that makes you happy and a more collected and wholeheartedly better individual for yourself, for your kids, or whoever that, for yourself, not for somebody. That is the most important and the best investment for me in my understanding. Cars, boats, lake home, jewelry, all of that, sure, it's nice, but I could care less if I drive a GMC or BMW. I've had them both and they drive the same way.
Yeah, they both still get you from point A to point B, right? And I mean,
Exactly.
it's certainly, and it's those intangible pieces that someone can't take away from you, right, Vusa? Like if you develop your mindset or certain skill sets, someone
Yeah.
can't strip that away. Like a material possession or even money, like anything like that, that could be gone tomorrow. Like we don't know what the future holds for us, but someone can't take away those mindset development pieces or those achievements
You
that
know,
you've made for yourself, right?
as I tell my kids always, whenever they face adverse, and I remind myself, um, you know, money is an energy, and that's a currency we pay to obtain goods, as we know, or services, correct? Now, the only currency for wisdom in life is experiences. And the only way we get experiences is by mistakes and the lessons learned from those mistakes. And the only way we consider mistakes as experiences and lessons learned if we have equipped ourselves with proper tools to discern what is default programmed subconscious perhaps adversaries you've acquired either as a child or as an adult versus what seems to be objectively a direct experience that makes you a better and wholesome individual. You see, it's a formula.
Yeah, and that that's a question I've always wondered if there was a formula for success, Vusa. Like you mentioned there's a formula for developing those certain aspects mentally and being able to maybe build towards finding your purpose. Do you think there's somewhat of a formula, mathematically speaking, for someone to be successful? I mean, I know that's really broad and honestly probably an
You
impossible
know,
question to answer, but
you know, each individual is made up of different DNA and different composition. What makes you a beautiful human and your experiences cannot be compared to mine. So to say my formula should fit your formula will be subjectively a very self-abnegating statement that will dismiss your experiences in life. So having said that, and without waiving that, I do believe the general formula, I mean, at least this is talking from reading hundreds of books, listening to podcasts, and working on my podcast, as we talked about, attending lectures, having coaches. I mean, the amount of investment I've invested into my mind, you would either think I am crazy or really, really smart, which you're probably not wrong either way.
Yeah.
Uh, Having said that, I really do think there is a formula, and the basic formula is experiencing life. And experiencing life within the context of learning lessons. Look, everybody, if you come across and say that, oh my God, you so and so is like that, so and so is like that, well, that's their formula. They're coming from their traumas, from their pains, from their experiences. So I don't no longer take offense because my formula have prepared me to take all perspectives in such a way that I said, well, okay, that's interesting. So as long as you can live the experience through your experiences and come on the other side as saying that, I didn't like what I went through. It was painful, which we talked on an airplane sitting next to each other. But that made me aware, and awareness coming to the place of, let me actually backtrack. If I were to put in a simple formula, is like this. And today, this I give a actual credit to my coach Fitzgerald, for this. And he said, there's three letters that make any color, right? Red, green, and blue. Any color is made of three combination. Actually, we talked about it. And perhaps life's color is coming from, and this is another coach, which Dave Asprey, that the whole biohacker, you probably heard about him. He says, essentially in life, all human beings have three faculties. And I'm going to say, I don't know if R-rated words are okay here, but I'm going to just throw it in there. You can blip it out. Eat, hump, and sleep. Now, perhaps our three basic primitive mind necessities come from that. But what makes the formula differentiated is when you become and do those things in the most aware and conscientious state. Are you with me?
Yeah, I'm with you.
That is the formula. It's not like sleeping is wrong. It's not like humping is wrong, for the lack of a better word. Again, we're talking about three basic things. It's not like eating is wrong, but when you take the awareness out of those elements, that's when you cross the border of doing it as a survival versus with a purpose. Thus, purposeful living.
Yeah, I really like.
Questions, but
No, I mean, I really like thinking of it in that way. I mean, the color, because that's something I'm certainly a visual learner. And when I can picture that in my mind a little bit, you think of the colors, the beautiful colors that you like, and to think that, it's a combination of those three main core ingredients. So when you think to more abstractly talk about someone's success, you think of some grand thing that they've done that's important to them. Maybe it, leads them to their purpose or is their purpose, and they complete that. Think of those pieces that had to be combined to allow them to do that. And that might come back to mindset. That might come back to, what past traumas, past, environment, the way you were raised, your parenting, those different types of things that can form you, into the person that you are. And Vusa, another piece really like where, we talk about the success portfolio. What are the things that you invest in to get to success? But then the next piece really is like, what is success? And so we've kind of glossed close to it a little bit, talking about purpose. And, I just want to ask you right now what your definition of success is today, and how has it maybe changed for you over time, or maybe it has remained somewhat similar. Maybe you've seen it morph just slightly, but I'm wondering where your success definition is right now.
Yeah, that is also a good question. And I've thought about it quite a bit. As you know, I sit on a plank about 5 hours a week. So I got a lot of time to think.
Yeah, that's ridiculous, by the way, just to say that. Yeah.
And I thought about it. I think about different things. What is love to me? What is success to me? What is kindness to me? Like, I question this existential deep, and I'm like, oh my God, I think I'm losing my mind, And again, you're probably not wrong, but to me, and again, we can say subjectively, because, every person, like if you go to someone who is living in a tent right now, really cold and needs a food, for them, successful life would be having a 1-bedroom studio room food, and then little basic clothing. For multi-billionaire who has insatiable amount of assets, for them it will be, well, having 10 more billions and then multiplying that. So I really can't generalize the term for all. However, I will again go back to the formula. I like the formulas because formulas denote some sort of a concreteness to them. And I like a structure, kind of like a military structure that you can compose and then you can use it as a visual guide. Like every stage of my life, there's been version of me that is no longer present. But every version of me that is no longer present has made me possible to what I am today. And every version of me thought of success different way. But along the way, success is, I think, maybe in 10 years it's going to be different when we have an interview. Good God willing, your podcast is going great and I'm in the places at least somewhat that I envisioned to be. As I said, if you knew the places I'm going, you'd be excited for this show. Success for me is the ability to be at peace and to share life with the people you love, that support you, that excite you and bring the best in you, that you set the goals and they expand, you reach them together or with yourself, and then you get to evolve without feeling unsafe. So for example, for you, Eric, right now where you're at, we talked about your experiences. Your goal is to be entrepreneur, set the podcast, makes a successful podcast, blah, blah, blah. But imagine somebody comes and strips that joy away from you. Now all of a sudden, and then your mojo for that passion starts dying and you start really questioning yourself. Is that you? Is that something happened with your passion? Was it a good passion? I think success is an ability to set goals and a vision and a life and freedom to pursue it without being threatened that you're unsafe to do that, even if that is going to lead to mistake because it was not meant to be, the economy was wrong, the environment. But success is being able to freedom, to fundamentally to pursue what you desire without being threatened that there's something wrong with you. And let that evolve, let it be beautiful to whatever it's going to be.
Yeah, that
and
actually...
let that evolve. You, as much as your success evolves, you let your success evolve with you. Think about it.
That really speaks very true to what the first guest on this Pulse of the Midwest miniseries, Pelly, was talking about with his journey into hip hop, and we kind of grew up in the same area of Minnesota, Wisconsin. And I asked him, really hey, there wasn't really much influence or resource to feel like that was a reasonable career. We kind of joked if you ask your school counselor or they ask you, what do you want to be? And you're like, I'm going to really try to become a musician. And I think I can rap and, I'm going to do this. And they would just say not at all. You should never do that. And he shared, some moments with even, close family members were saying, maybe you should get a job or different things like that. And so I don't know if that ties in.
Same exact quotes by my mom when I wanted to go to synchronized intelligence school for translation.
Yeah.
Exact same thing.
Right. And it's difficult because we chat a little bit about, there's haters and, I don't want to completely rehash the whole episode, but I think it's important to, for you, those of you listening, to realize some of the commonalities between these two individuals with Pelly and Vusa being on this, the Pulse of the Midwest. The meaning of that is what mindsets and what traits do these people have that's making them successful in this region? Because you'll probably see a lot more commonalities when you think of other people that you look up to, no matter where you are. But when you have true haters, there are people that we could say are true haters. They're anytime someone rises up, they're going to try to bash them down. They're going to project their own insecurities. They're going to what are they going to do?
I call them? You know what?
What do you call them, Vusa?
I call them American Association of Naysayers.
Oh, there you go. What does that acronym come out to be?
AAN. AAN.
AAN. Yeah.
Thank you for your service to American Association of Naysayers. I just laugh it up.
I like that. I like that. And it's
Use
also,
that.
there's part of it where, not from a hating standpoint, but people that are close to you sometimes, they will say things, probably more of a protective nature, or they really genuinely do want you to be successful, but maybe they don't see that as your best path. And so out of love, out of care, like, they're not trying to kill your dreams necessarily, but they probably are just trying to look out for you. And then they're like, you try this music thing, or you try this, insert whatever. And if it doesn't work, I want to make sure you're okay. And so don't get confused if you have, people or friends that are close to you, or family members that don't quite see your vision. If it's true to you and you feel a purpose with it, just keep going, because that's what's going to build you fulfillment and happiness,
let me add
right?
on to that. Because
Yeah,
let
go
me
ahead.
address to you people. Whoever's going to get this, listen to this. Listen. Forget about us, right? I'm nobody important. He's nobody important. And if somebody, comes to you and says, not as in a sense, an important as self-worth. Believe me, my self-worth is very defined. My values are very defined. I know who I am, and I know what I want, and I want what I stand. However, having said that, let me tell you this. Let me give you something to think about. If you're listening to the show to get anything out of it, if there's a dying desire within you that burns a passion within you, and your mom is a doctor, your dad is a doctor, you come from this prominent family, and you got the passion for music, and they're saying, no, we have a holy, I'm just using a very vague example, because I come from foreign backgrounds where everyone wants you to be doctor, lawyer, right? Unless you're doctor, lawyer, you're not like important. Listen, you have made out of one, do you know how many million sperms makes to make one human to make it? Like, let's talk about the back. Remember that formula I talked about?
Right.
Eat, hump, sleep. Like, what are freaking chances for you out of millions of sperms? That what is that force that makes you? I'm not going to go into God or religion here. There's something, some divine force that have decided that you're important enough on this earth for whatever purpose to be here listening on this show. So if that's you, if this found you for whatever reason, faith, friend, whatever, listen to me very carefully. Listen. Do it. Do it smart. Do it calculated. Do it with a plan, but do it. My mom, I forgave her, right? I used to hate my mom for going against me. I got into music school, and my mom said, good luck if this stone, she literally took a stone, and you don't know the significance of cultural understanding of this meaning. And I'm not bad mouthing my mom. I forgave her. I love her. She did the best. She was coming from the place of her traumas, her limited understanding. And for her, it was not safe for a female in a small town to expand her awareness in such a way that she will attend such an intelligence school where people get interrogated and gets their head shoved to the water and to be translated in that room. Got it. So I understand it now. But let me tell you something. My mom took a stone and threw it behind me when I went to her test. She said, if this stone comes back as a translator in that school, so will you. Well, guess what? I applied 2 years in a row. I couldn't get the score I wanted. Third year final, I did it. I studied. I didn't give up. I was not the most intelligent, but I put it all in. And by the way, this is for intelligence school. Within an English, I'm from a little, to put in perspective, pretend you are in Sparta, Wisconsin, little tiny teeny town in Wisconsin, or International Falls in Minnesota in a little dinky cold bar, dreaming of Harvard. That is the equivalent I'm trying to show you. And when I did get admitted the third year, I'm like, schmuck, now I need to pay for, it's a paid college, it's a paid tuition, first private of its kind. So I'm like, well, how do I pay for it? So I went and negotiated with, we went and talked to what they call revisor president, saying that if you allow me to study, blah, 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 first semester, well, they said we have a conditional, they had some sort of program. If you basically go get all A's the first semester, they will they will not go back and take the money. But if you get even a B, they'll go back and start charging you. Well, all of a sudden, I'm like, I didn't get admitted for 2 years. So all of a sudden, I'm like here and admitted, and I got all A's. Not only did I get all A's after the first year, the second year I was so good with my English, I became a tutor at Esperanto language school and started teaching tests as English of a foreign language. So the point, what I'm trying to make, when you make the path available with your passion, the way appears. Believe me, this is not some law of attraction, sit there manifesting, say yes to universe, embrace the start. Nah. I mean, you can say that works, but to the extent. You got the passion, go for it. Go for it. The way will appear. God, universe, give your own definition, divine intelligence, they know. Mom, grandpa, don't disrespect them. Like, I didn't say anything to my mom. I just started crying when I was walking to go on a bus and got the stone after me. I'm like, well, that's great support. I'm going to a big test. And I got a stone thrown after me instead of saying, oh, honey, let's say a prayer. Well, screw that. Just don't throw a stone after you.
Yeah.
That's why when people say something dumb to me, I'm like, tell me more about it.
Yeah, thank you for being a member of AAN, right, Vusa? That's the.
Yeah, thank you for.
You should carry around little stickers or badges or something like that. Hand out.
I say thank you for your service to American Association of Naysayers.
That should be an actual group. I mean, there's a lot of people. They wouldn't, people don't want to self identify as that as well, though. That's a problem.
Maybe I can create a group and start offering a healing therapy for them. There you go. We can.
Yeah, there's a business idea right there. Maybe someone listening is also like, hey.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen.
I know a lot of these naysayers.
If you're a negative person and want to lead a company that is substantive, go for it. American Association of Naysayers. I will even be willing to lend you my.
You could go and plank there. You could go and do a plank there as part of the fundraising.
Can you imagine? Then you can't do that. Stop it. This is too hard. I'm like, tell me more.
Yeah. Yeah, really, there's so much to unpack there, but I think your base message of do it if you feel passionate enough about it and you know it's true to your heart, go for it. Because I do believe in the power of the belief leading you to find the ways to make that happen. If your mind is in a place where you think, hey, right now you're making $30,000 a year, if your mindset is in the place of you making $100,000 a year or $30,000 a month, it is just a matter of time before you find those ways to physically make that happen. I genuinely believe that. I think that's from...
Find the feeling before you find the... I mean, if you're going to... There's also, like, this is much deeper topic than the 35 one hour minute. I mean, obviously, my message... What the message is... The substance of the message is that when there's a desire and passion that is put in heart, I mean, I've had some ideas and I'm like, I'm going to try that. I'm like, oh God, that was dumb. What I was thinking, I've had those like, oh, I'm going to have this company and I did the shirts were published and $200, $300 into it. I'm like, yeah, that was kind of like, that I was just trying it out. I was trying, but there are few times I remember, and the planking is one of them, which leads me to planking with purpose.
Yeah, Vusa, that's perfect. Let's jump right into chatting about, that incredible mission of United We Plank, where you're traveling all across the country. You got a goal of breaking the women's world record for the longest plank. What was really the catalyst for this journey of combining, endurance, philanthropy, mindfulness? How did that all start? When did you know you wanted to do that? And I mean, the second piece to that is just the planking with a purpose is such a unique concept. I mean, I think there's other people that might be able to think of other physical feats that they are good at, that they might be able to add another layer to it, add another level of purpose to it. So yeah, take it away.
I mean, so it started with a pain. I got divorced in 2020, and it was one of the most painful experiences I've had, even though it may not have appeared, but it was so much pain. I was confused. I was questioning everything I could stand for. I didn't understand. I mean, 16 years of marriage, I never thought I would get divorced. And all of a sudden, and remember, I come from a traditional background. So for me to go from that to marriage, which I thought had great moments and had some rough moments towards the end. And I take full responsibility for everything on my part. I can't speak for my ex, and I wish him well, and I moved on with that. But when I got divorced, I was in so much pain, and I'm not a really athletic person. I know it's going to sound crazy. In fact, basketball was the only fun thing that I liked. And then in high school, we don't have it organized sports. Women are not deemed as athletes. In fact, when I told my mom I'm planking at the age of, I was early 40s, she said, please don't put so much pressure on your female parts. Do you know now this is kind of fun. My mom lives, just for the record, in a third world country, so maybe that comes from lack of education. By that time, I had two adult kids just about. My mom said, do you know when you put too much pressure on the female parts, you lose your virginity? I'm like, I think that's a little bit too late for that. So the point of it is I'm not an athletic person. So I had all I had from athleticism that I prepared for training to be special agent with FBI. So that led me, that whole training, without going too much into further details, led me into, I'm like, well, what do I do with that training? I'm like, well, I'll become a certified trainer. So I became a certified trainer, and then that led me to one day I was in so much pain. Someone broke the record. I said, oh, this lady just broke the record 4 hours, 19 minutes. So I'll get on see what it is. And I got on a plank and I was listening music and I put a timer on. This was my first plank. And I put a music on. I've never planked before, never planked in my life, didn't know what plank is. I mean, planked maybe like, a little bit for FBI training. I had to do push-ups and so much, blah, blah, blah. And then it was like, I was there 30 minutes. And I was like, dang. And I got done and it was such a ecstatic and yet good transformative feeling of pain. Like it was empowering, but yet grounded. I felt humble. It was like, I swear my mood was altered. So I was like, what the heck was that about? I'm like, okay, so, and then I went online. I said, who's the plankers? And I found a few plankers. And I reached out to one of them, who is George Hood, Guinness World Record holder. He holds the international world record for 10 hours, 10 minutes, 10 seconds. Nobody beat it and no one will. And I shouldn't say that, but no one has yet done that. And then I reached him out and he said, well, you know what? You want to, and we went on FaceTime and I was 20 minutes at that time. Remember, I just got done 30 minutes and I was like, I was telling my story, blah, blah, blah. And he and I just clicked, just 100%. And he's like, do you want to, if you come past my training boot camp, I will consider you. I'll see what you got. So I go there. I mean, it's literally, remember, this is in the process of divorce. My life is a complete mess. I'm falling apart, as we know, as a human being. My two kids, I'm living in a little apartment. I don't even know what I'm doing. I have a job. I buy plane tickets and fly to Chicago, to this random guy's home that all I know, he has records. 3 days. I mean, he's George Hood. You can say all you want about him, but I got to tell you, the guy has a discipline. This single-handedly the most disciplinary guy I've ever met in my life. And there is a reason we kind of clicked, because the concept of discipline was so established, structure. And he's a former NCIA agent, drug enforcement agent. So we share kind of similar structures for structure, but then, also like goofiness, because we're like, when you go that much training, you're like, please tell me more about how you want to offend me. Like, you know what I'm saying? So then at that time, 3 days of training, it was like so arduous. Like, imagine you get up, you plank, you go to this drill, you go to the prairie, as you call it, you go to, freaking all day long. And food is like, yeah, you eat like, he goes to eat one bagel and I don't even eat gluten. So I'm like sitting there starving. I'm like fighting with him. Like, I need real food by this time. But somehow the mind got, at that time, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to attempt this record. So then fast forward, I come back, continue planking. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to do for fundraiser. Well, actually, that's not, I said, well, I'm going to try to see what's my longest plank, but I'm going to try it at some entertainment event. So I joined this United Way or something like a YMCA's planking for purpose for homeless shelter. I pick a number. I said 333. That sounds a fun number. I actually researched. I'm like, I heard Jesus suffered on the cross for 3 hours, 3 minutes, 6 seconds. So I'll pick that. I don't know if that research is correct. So I get on a plank, do for 3 hours, 3 minutes, 3 seconds. And at that time, I'm like, oh my God, I'm ready. 1 year into it, I can break that record. But then I stopped because I realized that desire to go break that. I mean, as an athlete, there's a douchebag in us, right? Competitive douchebag. I'm better than you. Of course, every athlete has that, and every athlete every businessman has it. However, me being a aware person, having a formula, I said, the only reason I want to attempt to break the record right now is out of the desire to be seen, to be validated, to be heard, because I'm so much suffering, I'm so much lacking inside. I want to be seen and heard of. I want to be validated. I said, I want to do something meaningful with my body and purpose and platform before I attempt a record. I don't care if it takes 5 years, but I want to add a meaning to it. I do not want to do anything without meaning. To me, one of my values, top 10 values, I have top 10 values, is attaching meaning to the things I do that are intrinsic and extrinsic. So then I said, what if I went to all 50 states and started like a marathon, doing 1 hour planking? Now, someday there will be event called, people go for marathon and join, and the reason it's hard for me right now, I'm literally setting the pave with my fingers and nails, road path to something that does not exist. Can you imagine me calling to organizations saying, I want to raise funds for you, doing 1 hour on a plank? They're like, huh?
Like, yeah,
because
it's foreign to them, right?
Well, how much money do you want? I said, I don't want nothing. I'm paying for my plane ticket. Now I'm at a point where people are sponsoring it, of course, the plane ticket and the lodging, but they don't understand because I'm setting the pave to something never existed before, ever. At some point, though, that's my platform, United Will Plank. You'll go to online, there will be organization, you'll pay your $69.99. You'll sign up for 1 hour plank. There'll be people sitting in their room planking for 1 hour, and whoever gets out, and whoever makes it last, makes it last. There.
That'd be fantastic.
Planking for purpose. I pick 3 categories. Either number 1, the events, locations that made a difference in my life. Number 2, events and locations or people that made in other people's life. It doesn't always have to be me. And the third one, out of simply something I love. Didn't make a difference, like a lemon. I love lemons. I eat lemons like an apples. Those Myers lemons, I eat them like a little apples. Love it. So I wanted to plank on the lemon tree. In Arizona, I literally sat my plank pad under the lemon tree and plank it on the lemon tree because I wanted it. And who says I can't? And there was a bobcat following me right in I thought I'm going to break the post, but luckily I talked to Bobcat. I said, dude, go away. I mean no harm. I know I'm in your territory. Please go away. And he did. I have actually video of it at some point. I'll post somewhere.
Wow, there's got to be a certain level of fear in there too, where you're thinking like this. I might be in danger.
Plank is not an adrenaline sport. Remember, you can't say, "Yeah, you got this. Let's go." Where are you going? You're sitting there with your freaking hands down. So there's nothing to go. There's no you can't make a clappy. You can't say, it's not a non-spectator sport. Your time, the only most exciting part of the 1 hour plank is the last minute. People come excited because they're like, oh my God, that's the last minute is what I wanted to do the whole time. That's it. It's not a non. I picked the most boring. The 2 hobbies I have is an ice bath and a plank. Both slow down time.
And both are really, they at least from what I've heard, they activate a certain mental and physical piece of you that allows you to push past, what you might think is possible. So I wanted to get a little bit into, if it's okay with you, Vusa, like Absolutely. The process mentally when you're sitting there on your arms and elbows. You mentioned maybe you have music sometimes, but how do you or where do you transform while you're doing that? Do you go to a different place than, you might even consider if you were running a marathon, or, if you're doing other athletic or even training, in those more high intensity, military type trainings?
Well, when I can come from the place of 1 hour is already regular, so I do it every day. So not to sound weird, but the longest I've done is 3-3-3. So when that happened, the first 15 minutes is the hardest. You're warming up and you're getting going with it. You're kind of like adrenaline kicks in. Your body's like, give up, give up, give up. But I come to the point where I'm like, calm the freak down. You're fine. Just you're not that important. Like you set a goal. I set a goal. Now, there's some deep inner secrets about planking, but I will just give you disclose for your audience for the first time, some of them. First of all, I set the time. I said, you're not getting out of this place. This is a mind. I'm training my mind. I'm telling my mind, look, you're going for 20-minute plank, 1 hour plank. This is what you're going to do. In the whole process, my mind throws a freaking tantrum. The first 15 minutes. I just constantly bring it back to my body, saying that my mind is going off of the template of the 3. Eat, hump, sleep. You're not eating, you're not sleeping, you're not humping. You're in danger. Remember, your body doesn't know, your mind doesn't know the danger. Tiger attacking you, you're on a plank versus you're on a fire. Danger is danger, period. I don't give anything else a meaning. Danger is danger. So body goes into, oh my God, you're not safe, give up. So then I have to regulate. How do I regulate? The first principle is equanimity. Is the need and a desire to let go of the need to move. Number 1. Number 2, the need and desire and awareness to understand that pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. Number 3, and a need and a desire to let go of needing to think. Rather go what I call, and the longer I go, the more I go to what I call to no man's land.
That just crossed my mind. I was wondering if you were going to say something like that. I was thinking that. It's like you're going to a place of nothingness.
In no man's land, and again, I'm going to speak spiritually. There's God. There's grace. There's humility. I cry sometimes. Sometimes I cry quite a bit, actually, in that place when I get there. And it's such a state of nothingness, but everything. It's such a state of desire, but yet surrender. It's such a place of you're full of awareness, but you have zero thoughts. It's the state of complete feeling. It's a state of flow. It's a state of where you express gratitude to God for being able in this moment and for giving me this privilege to be here. It's a no man's land. I go there. But to go there, I have to find my mind, my body, and my thoughts, all in that order. My mind, my body, and then my thoughts that try to trick me into devilry that 2 are stupid. And I just, once I pass that, and sometimes I can't pass it. Like if I'm in the state of agitation, like if you have an upbeat music, I can't do it. You can't come and clapping and do abrupt action. You can't have a strong perfume. That's why when I do long planks, my friend Erica, who supervises my planks, she keeps people out and you can't come there clapping. You can't come there hyper. I don't listen to hyper music only unless last maybe 10 minutes of the plank. Maybe. Like upbeat, very tempo. Otherwise, it's the alpha and theta state, if you know binaural beats.
Yeah, absolutely. People use them to study and people, it gets your mind
alpha and theta. And though both are similar to hypnosis state. And that's why I meet God. That's why I pray. That's why I thank. That's why I ask God forgiveness. If I go through my day, I say, God, if I hurt someone inadvertently, if I said something, because I'm a pretty bold person, sometimes I can come across as insensitive, so then I kind of introspect and I'm like, well, that could have been done right or could have been done wrong. So No man's land.
Yeah, it's really cool to hear that process, because it seems like a lot of people that do those really crazy physical feats that you hear of. I think of the Netherlands guy Wim Hof that climbed a mountain with like shorts.
I took a class from him.
You took a class from him, yeah. So perfect, yeah. So we're on the same thread here. So I think like when you see people do those types of things, you have to think, at least that's where my mind goes. I'm like, some type of mental shift is happening where they're almost not even like sensing the physical sensation of being cold or being in pain.
You can't be in those places and thinking about your neighbor Jackie or coworker Letitia or Auntie Jeremiah who didn't have a bullfrog. Nah.
Yeah, you have to get to your no man's land, right? Your version of it, right? It's going to be different for each person, I would imagine.
What I call it's a no man's land for me. I mean, some athlete might call it endurance runner might call it mountains or flowers. To me, it's a no man's land. It's where everything exists but nothing is there. It's where all the feelings are full but no thoughts exist. Awareness is fully aware, and then you just breathe from the place of you just completely like confident, but yes, you're in the most humble and humility state. And I cry quite a bit. I cry because it's just like that's why I become like the most exercise humility in such a way that I never do ever anywhere with anyone. I mean, I'm usually sensitive but yet strong. I guess you could call that, but
yeah, that's really cool to hear. I mean, thanks for sharing that, Vusa, because I think a lot of people listening are we're certainly interested. You listen to your background and you read your bio. If you're doing research on her, you're like, wow, like there's got to be some, not a secret sauce necessarily, but she's got to have a process that's pretty well defined to be able to do these types of things.
Just gotta have a crazy in her that explains this.
Yeah, you got to be a little wild to do something. You got to be a little crazy to do something great.
Yeah, I used to get offended so much when people would call me crazy. I'm like, no, but I'm like, now I'm like there's a guy who wrote, I'm not crazy. I'm not just like, I'm not crazy. I'm just not like you.
That's spot on. Yeah, and everybody's coming from a different spot. So I'm curious if the FitNut program that you have, what elements do you incorporate into that to help clients that will come to you? I mean, do you go fully into, that mental? I mean, I can imagine it's a combination of mental and physical, but what would be kind of the synopsis of that program for people listening here?
Yeah, so I have a program called FitNut Simplified, meaning fitness, nutrition simplified. And the reason I call it simplified, I really mean it. So it's kind of funny. When I was a trainer at the beginning, I was like that. I was younger too. Slam dunk, go, typical white girl on Instagram modality, 3 kettlebells of this, 4 sets of that. But I changed my approach quite a bit after this planking and everything. Actually, it made me much more kinder and much more compassionate trainer. Because now, remember, I understand now much deeper the modality of subconscious mind. So the entire program is based off of your formula disruption. That is, so your weight gain as a result of formula disruption. So like when I interview my clients, I ask questions, and my go-to tagline is created by God, sculpted by FitNut. And again, this is not to impose some religious view, whatnot. It's just give your own definition. What I really mean is you are perfect. You genuinely are perfect. You are the powerhouse, both as a man, as a woman. We each have a places in society that is so beautiful, that is so significant, that is so powerful, that is so godly, that is so fantastic. Both of us do. And both genders so beautifully complement each other. But somewhere, someplace, the formula gets disrupted. For some, it's a childhood adversaries. For others, it's a divorce or cheating, a boyfriend or girlfriend that left you unexpectedly. It's the sadness. It's alcohol. It's a drug. It's a kid who hurt themselves. The formula got disrupted for your safety. So the question is, like when I interview them, I try to find basic fundamental question. How's your sleep? How's your nutrition? How's your desires? Now, I don't go into details here, obviously. And once I get that basic formula, I swear, like every single person go back to the same thing. Somewhere, someplace, their safety got disrupted. And they started drinking and eating and abusing food to cover that void in their life that made them feel unsafe. Because it was so much comfortable to be in the cycle of disruption, as my coach says, familiar disruption. Like I call it as a, you join the American Association of Naysayers that support you in that journey. It's like, oh, let's go. And all of a sudden you start like elevating and you start falling out with friends and things like that. I try to get the compilation of information about your eat, sleep, and other stuff, and your environment. And what do? Basic stuff. And then I kind of start subconsciously incorporating somatic healing protocols into training. It is so subtle. Now, if you come to me and start training and I start telling you, Eric, you're eating crap, stop eating burgers, and you're like, that's a familiar, that's a safety for you. Your body doesn't know if I tell you stop eating burgers from start going for walks. That's a structure to which I apply and incorporate. And then, if they want a challenge, I do incorporate planking into my clients' training. But if you're just a novice into training, I'm not going to put you through 30 minutes. I'm aware of the limitations of human body and mind. And I understand that 15 seconds is a great start for someone who is never playing. However, my concept is to come from the place of compassion, from the place of awareness, and from place of safety. That's why when people come and say, well, I have a 3 months, I interview them. I don't take clients unless I interview them. I don't care. Keep your money. Go to Jackie Nelson, who's going to give you 3 sets. I'm not that. For me, if you come to me and say, I have 3 months, I need to lose 20 pounds. I say, well, I can chop your left hand. That'll be an easy way. But if you want to make a lifestyle change for good, that's when I say, okay, well, let's talk about it. Now we have a common ground to talk about. That's how I incorporate it. That's mind, body, and healing.
Yeah. It kind of goes to that expertise we talked about at the beginning, where you have that, your physical and mental combination to be able to lead whatever that, that person's goal might be. You're able to kind of facilitate that using the experience you've had to be able to get them to their spot. And I think the point of lasting change is probably a really important one, at least when I hear it, to think it's not a quick fix of let's shed a bunch of weight and then put it back on and just kind of cycle, around, not actually really sustaining these types of habits that you'd want them to sustain, right? Being able to build those habits. And I feel like your experience.
The same goes with your success portfolio, like a mine. If I want to make a meaningful change in my assets, I'm like, okay, set a goal, take goals and set goals and get actions, get results. You can't measure what you can't manage what you can't measure. Just manageable, small, baby steps, crawling spaces, tiny steps, lateral changes. I wish I would say, that any millionaire you would talk to, any business owner, any person who have faced adversities, they will all unilaterally agree with the common denominator. Success doesn't come from jumping over the ocean. It's a stepping stone to success that you go through little tiny pebbles that pushes you through different ebbs and flows. And along the way, as long as you're amenable and flexible to hit the ebbs and to hit the rocks, but go with the flow, with the vision and a trust and a faith, you will get where you need to.
Yeah, and keeping yourself attached to your purpose too, right? So that allows you to be able to.
No, I disagree with that. I would say, like, for example, I have a goal to go 50 states, do 1 hour plan. Yeah. But I'm not attached to the outcome, where I'm going to do it. I'm not attached to when am I going to do it. I just have a goal. I have a goal to break the record. Well, It could be maybe I will go at the number, that 3 numbers I have, 3 number sets. So don't attach, but adhere is a better term. Adhere to your purpose, but don't attach to the outcome. Because then you become this doer versus a beer. Be with your purpose, be with your flow versus, Attachment is a very, very dependent, very controlling concept and a maneuver, which you don't want to do that. You let it go. You adhere. You go with the flow. You go with the ebb. You know what? I have a 50 states that I want to travel. If I break the record before that, so be it. If I go all 50 states and do that, so be it. Who's stopping me? Who's the time? Who do I have a responsibility to? I want to be debt free and have X amount of assets by a certain age. And if I don't, guess what? I'm going to enjoy the moments in life without worry that I lost somewhere, someplace.
Yeah, that is kind of where I was thinking with the breaking of a world record, like that being a huge feat, a huge thing to, some people could say and tie success to that particular thing. But it's much more than that. When I was thinking of your story and thinking of the, doing the 50 states, breaking the record, it's like if you attach way too much meaning to those particular outcomes, you're probably going to lose sight of the enjoyment of that journey and the growth that you shared, the iterations of each evolution of you as a person, and that has helped you create the person that you are today. But on top of that, as you're enjoying the journey and finding your way, going with the ebbs and flows, like you mentioned, there are certain, we could maybe call them barriers or rocks that do appear that you do need to ebb and flow around. And it could be a mental block, it could be a physical block. What is maybe the one thing we could share with people here that you would say is a strategy or some type of habit that you could build to push past those and find new limits and continue to raise the bar as you're also enjoying your journey and ensuring that you're not attaching it to the results, but making sure you're purpose driven but not attached to that?
So let's put in the context of 2 topics. Let's say a goal, a physical goal like a fitness goal, or build a home, or get a certain job, or join a certain group. And then physical form. You want to buy a car, you want a certain girlfriend or boyfriend. And let's say you've come along the way and you've hit the block. You're like, oh my God, I'm not getting anywhere that can allow me to reset, take a rest, and exercise grace. Don't push. What you push, you resist. Just step back for a second. Say, okay, maybe this is a time for me. Just too often we get too caught up on autopilot modality that we're going at it. It's like pushing. Look, you can't force love. You can't force money. You can't force friendship. All those things, money, love, friendship, is something that has to come authentically. And within those 3 realms, you can apply that to any goals. Some days I'm like, my body is not feeling well. I'm tired. Well, I have a structure. I have a routine. I'm okay. I'm on a plank today to do 1 hour plank. I got to do legs. I got to do stretch. Okay. Today is my structure. So what do? I'm like, you know what? I do know that I have a built-in break days twice a week, right? So I said, you know what? I'm going to swap my break day from Sunday to today. And I'm just going to go for a long walk. And I'm going to come back and take a long, deep, warm bath and have a cup of tea and just go to bed. Because today has been enough, right? And you gotta take a time to reset. You gotta take a time to step back, to evaluate, and give yourself some grace. And if it continues, you're like, I got nothing in me, 2nd day, 3rd day, that's a different topic.
Yeah, that does remind me of planning for, training for some half marathons and being a distance runner, having the ability you have to be able to be flexible because you can't predict how your body's going to feel, how your mind's going to feel, what other things are going to come up. So you got to be flexible. That's really, that's certainly a big thing that I recall with that, being able to remain that flexibility, and not just in that, but it seeps into other aspects of your life too. I appreciate you saying going with the flow, because that's certainly how I like to approach a vast majority of the things in my life, and you're able to, people feed off that energy too. So if you encounter someone that's maybe a little bit less flexible than you in a mental sense, they might, you might be able to help that person just by, saying, hey, let's just step back for a second. Like, things seem to be going well. Like, are you able to just reassess the plan? Like, you're not feeling great today. Maybe you'll feel fantastic tomorrow. And so I think that's a good way to think of it, is just to be able to be flexible and be able to know what your purpose is, maybe is a better spot. I mean, don't attach yourself to goals. I certainly do agree with that part, Vusa. But making sure you don't lose sight of who you truly think you are and what your purpose on this earth is, right?
It's not a big deal. It's fine. I mean, you're continuing. As long as you're continuing, you're staying consistent. Remember, again, to sum up, success is a stepping stone. Stepping stone to success is a small pebbles that you cross over. And along the way, you hit the rocks, you hit the ebb. But throughout the whole adversaries and discomforts, you go with the flow. Despite the fact, I mean, you don't think I faced adversities in life every day? It's personal. I just went through 2 months of difficult time and whatnot, and you just reset and you accept.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and I'm sure you probably have to do that quite a bit with this journey to travel to each 50 state, and with the goal of,
how many rejections I got? I love it.
I was going to ask you, where are we at in this process? How far are you into it, Vusa?
Well,
and I mean, share the rejections too.
My next plank is in Las Vegas.
Ooh, that's nice. That sounds fun.
Working with the company called Texas Care Company to do my other plank in. So basically, essentially, I have 3 planks coming up. Las Vegas in January 13th, and then I have February potentially either Iowa or Georgia, but we're working with the big event right now with Texas Care Company. That's to break the mental barriers for the kids who are dealing with various adversaries. So yeah, and then so basically, by the end of the summer, I'm hoping to do Vegas, Iowa, Georgia, and North Dakota. But you know what? I'm not attached to the outcome. Those are my intentions and plans. But if plans change, I'm cool with that. And that'll be my 15th state if that happens.
If you add those 4, you'd be at 15.
50 states. Every state I knock down. At some point, I'll have 3 days planned to the upper northeast coast, the Maine, New Hampshire. So I plan to arrive at one airport and plank, go to another, plank to another, and do all 5 states in 3 days.
Wow. Yeah, that'll be nice to knock those out. And I mean, I'm just excited, Vusa, when you started telling me about this on that plane ride that we shared, like, it was like, wow, that is, I mean, planking aside, the thing that you're doing aside, thinking about that alone is crazy to think of how difficult, at least in my mind, that would be based on how long I know I can plank. And I'm sure those of you listening to, you think, if you can do 5 minutes, I'm like, that's outstanding. That's a long ass time. And she's able to do it for an hour as like, it's for charity work. She's at the free throw line throwing up an hour with the goal of being able to go, upwards of 4 hours.
So I'm like, I think people love when you suffer. For some reason, I'm like, well, that's a spectator sport.
Yeah.
To let them just.
If people if you start to tear up as you get into your nomad's land and people are laughing, like that's they find enjoyment out of someone. Hey, look at that person over there suffering out of their mind.
Yeah, it's pretty. I really, really had good people that I met. And all the planks that I did for the events, never once they have not come back and said that was amazing. They gave gratitude. It was like they become very, like they're like, oh my God, thank you so, like they start talking quiet. I'm like, why are you talking quiet? Like, that's cool, It's like they become very, like, softened it's like, soften is the best term I can describe. So it's a privilege to be able to change and see so many people and be part of this story. I've met so many wonderful people. So far, 10 states plus one territory, so many good people, seriously. Like, I am so grateful to God that that vision was planted in my mind out of place of despair. Now I get to participate in. So I've done it with kids several times. I mean, do you know how excited they get? They're cute. They're waiting there. They're all excited. They're like, don't understand. Some do understand. And then it gets imprinted in their mind. And I give them little manageable speeches that they can take home and remember, because they do remember. I remember someone told me something bad or good when I was 5 or 6, 7, 10. Believe me, I do. So
Yeah,
my
they'll stick
goal
with
is,
you.
I hope they remember something inspiring, So
Yeah, I mean, Vusa, it really is at the core inspiring. I mean, I think I speak for everybody that's hearing your story when I say that we're really excited to see where you go with United We Plank, and just being able to get to know you better. You know, you shared wanting to start a podcast of your own. Would be more than happy to help assist with that, or just share any sort of motivational pieces that it's a really great platform to be able to share your
I look
thoughts and
forward.
inspire people. And so yeah, Vusa Bentley wrapping up the second episode of the Pulse of the Midwest miniseries. She will, at some point in time, I'll just speak it into existence, and I know she believes it too, but she will set that world record in women's planking. And so that'll be absolutely outstanding when I can message her or call her on the phone and be like, wow, thinking it back to when we had that interview, when we first met on this plane, like, you did it. That's fantastic. And
Yes.
I'm very, very excited to see where you go. If someone wants to
Thank you.
reach out to you, Vusa, and connect with you, personally, or
Yes.
whether it's with your business or just you on a personal level, what's the best way for them to do that? Or is there a certain, particular
Yeah.
spot they can find you most often?
I actually have a Instagram page called FitNut Simplified by V. I think you have that. Maybe if you can tag it in the show. I also have an email, fitnutbyv at gmail.com. They can email me. And if they want to join my group, and on Instagram is where I post. I just recently made it public. It was private up until recently. I think I told you the story. And then on Facebook, I have a United with Plank. So
Okay.
if you go to Facebook and I just want to make sure that it's called United with Plank. Just go there and just join the group, and I will add you. United with Plank Out, because Plank Out, hang out, and my tagline is strong and healed at the core. So if you just want to put United with Plank Out, like as in hang out, and it'll pop up my page, and just join it, and then I will add you, and then we'll have fun.
Yeah, Vusa,
So email, Instagram, or United will Plank Out. And I have a website too. You can maybe perhaps tag in the show line, www.fitnutsimplified.com.
for sure. Yeah, we'll tag all those in the show notes. We'll have, people have the ability to contact you and reach out to you on those platforms. Vusa
Yes.
Bentley, thank you so much for being a guest on the Eric Mueller Show.
Absolutely.
Really
Thank
can't
you so
thank
much,
you enough.
Eric. Great show.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. We look forward to following your journey, and we'll catch up with you soon, all right?